The year was 1959, and the management thinker Peter Drucker saw what was changing in the workforce. For years, we had looked at the factory floor, in the fields, the laborers who were really good at getting things done, turning wrenches, but now we had evolved into a new state where the person who knew more, who had more knowledge and more expertise was the one who was really valued. So you earned all your fancy degrees, you worked in different companies, and you built this portfolio of, look at who I am, look at how much value I create, look at all my credentials, and you handed that out there to the world and said, who's the highest bidder? Who wants some of this? And people said, me. Corporations valued that up. You were an expert in finance, in engineering, in marketing. In reality, these companies needed that. For 70 years, that model held true. I grew up in that model, you likely did too. But that model's dead. The knowledge worker is dead. The deal is broken because no longer do we need knowledge packaged into a human's brain and then sold at $500,000. That's not the deal anymore. Things have changed. Right now, we have entered a new era where that's gone, and it happened quickly, I admit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the 5 forces, looking at how the knowledge worker came to its end, why that's happening right now, what's transpiring in this whole convergence of forces, all these things happening all at once, and how that's killing the corporate career. Because the knowledge worker is the one who thrived in corporate environments. So that means the corporate career is effectively ending. Now, the good thing is with every new death, there's an opportunity that's arisen from that. So we're gonna talk about exactly what people are doing who understand what's happening right now, and they're seizing the opportunity in the midst of all this change. Most people are completely naive to this disruption. The forces at play that have killed off the knowledge worker and that are effectively killing corporate careers. But you're listening right now and you're gonna understand specifically what to do differently because that's what's gonna get you the new high ground. So if you've been building this career capital over the last 15 to 25 years and you're worried about it just falling off a cliff, do not worry. That's not what's gonna happen because we're gonna show you the opportunity on how to package it and create a new situation for yourself that is far better than the old one that's dying off. So we've got 5 forces that are killing off the corporate career. Number 1 is tech inversion. If you look at all of history, every time new technology came in, everything from more automated farming to the factory to digital technology in the 60s and 70s, what that did was it chopped out the lower layers. It took the simple things like people who were doing computations by hand and it brought in spreadsheets. It took out the lower layer activities. But the middle layers and the top layers of the organization, if you think of a pyramid, were safe. Those are where the really credentialed people were, the people who understood best practices, who had deep intuition, who could understand how to reorganize a company in order to make it more efficient. They were always safe. It's always the lower layers. But now that's flipped on its head. Now tech inversion means the people at the top, especially the middle layers near the top, they're the ones who are most in trouble. That's possibly you. If you're a director, VP, newly minted executive, managing director, this sort of thing, you're in a state where you are at the top of your food chain in the sense of you've got the most best practice knowledge, you're a functional expert, you're very highly paid, but you're in this very exposed layer. A new study from Anthropic showed that those with a graduate degree are 4 times more likely to be exposed in AI going forward. Let that sink in. For the first time ever, those at the top, that top 60 to 80%, are the people who are most exposed. So any single company that has a clue of what's going on right now is applying AI in different use cases and saying, how do we get more out of our organization? Do we need all these people? A recent study from Boston Consulting Group showed that in every instance that it applied it to the consulting layer in the middle, it made everyone way faster, way more effective. Gone are the days where you needed to manually be a slide wizard and build this beautiful thing from scratch, which is where I came from, ironically. And you can move that through in code and good vision and good taste very quickly. So all of this compression of the middle layer is taking place right now. So for the first time in history, technology is hitting the top layer more profoundly than the bottom layers. That leads me to the second force, the great flattening. So if you think about a pyramid, right, it was a nice even distribution the way your organization was, very few people at the top, then a slightly bigger middle layer, and then on down you had all the doers down at that bottom layer. Well, if you think about the top layer, like CEO, C-suite, top-level leadership, and then the bottom layer, they are actually more safe than anyone else right now. It's the middle layer that's most exposed. Here's why. At the end of the day, you need the things to be done. You need people cranking out the different widgets, finalizing the decks, the reports, doing the on-the-ground work. And then you need people at the very top who are guiding the institution, at least for now, until AI takes that over. In reality, then, the middle layer is the one that's most exposed because they were always the ones, which is where I used to be in the director level, is doing the synthesis, looking at all that's taking place and kind of bringing the numbers, bringing the perspective together, coming up with subjective opinions on what needs to be done better. It's amazing at doing synthesis. You can feed it all sorts of things, endless documents, context from different sources, different formats. It's gonna be like, here's the through line, here's what's happening, here's what you need to know, therefore here are the decisions that top-level leadership needs to make to then execute down to the doers, right? So the top level and the bottom level, pretty safe for now. It's the middle layer, the people that were really there for synthesis, that were there for doing the management of all the numbers that are in real trouble right now. Across corporate America, in the last year alone, 1/3 of all layoffs are now at that middle layer. Those folks earning 300, 400, 500K that historically have been very protected with all their credentials and accolades and all the things that they could post on their LinkedIn profile. That synthesis ability though, that's being handed over to AI. So we've got to ask, what's going to happen to all these people? There's a lot to answer for here because you've got this great flattening taking place. The pyramid is being squished. Top layer is still relevant. The bottom layer is still relevant for now, but the middle layer is being displaced. Displaced to where? That leads us to point number 3. Force number 3 is forever layoffs. I use that word intentionally because back when layoffs used to happen, it used to be cyclical. Industries would go through hard times and they'd have to lay people off, knowing that when the good times came back, the economy recovered and they did well again, you'd rehire at great scale to fill that back in. But right now, going forward, you don't have that. There used to be a displacement and then those people who were forced out found an opportunity at a similar institution. That's gone now. Those jobs are not coming back. So what happens for those people? If you look at corporate America alone in 2025, 1.2 million layoffs were announced. That's up 58% year over year. And I don't love the stats, but if you just look at the numbers, like this is pretty undeniable. Now contrast that, just a few years ago, back right after COVID, if you remember this, they had the great resignation, right? You came back, a little bit of a return to office feel, economy was doing pretty well after we were all living at home for all that time. And the great resignation said, you know, I don't like this job. I'm going to quit it because I know I can take my top level management job and I can put it out there and someone will take it. There will be a higher bidder. I can get a better job, better pay, better up leveling situation. You could just resign when you wanted to and get that next job more or less. Those days are gone. That was right before ChatGPT hit mainstream in 2023. That's right before everything changed in what AI did mainstream. And I don't want to make this a purely AI is doomsday thing, but you've got to understand the implications of it now becoming mainstream. There's no going back to the old ways. AI is making so many parts of the organization functionally obsolete. And when you're a leader, say a CEO of an organization, you're making a few $1 billion a year, and you realize that you can operate without all those layers, you can compress and actually be better off, guess what? You will gladly let that happen because your job is to maximize profit. Your job is to make sure you're as efficient as possible. Those jobs are not coming back and they're not being created at similar organizations. And this is my reality too as a founder, now having left corporate life. In the last few years, I've had a pretty lean team, but I've had a team, different people doing different things, different contractors, different elements, different coaches with me. And the reality is, I don't need that as much anymore. I can look at different agents, different setups, different ways of working, different workflows where it's like, yeah, I can be really lean. The whole idea of the first $1 billion one-person business is about to happen. And so with all these forever layoffs taking place, you can't just bet that a new spot's going to open up at a similar place. That's done. Think of the game musical chairs. People get out of their chairs, they walk around, and then when the music stops, you sit back in a chair. This time, say you got 10 people walking around, when they sit down, there's only 3 chairs left. There aren't any more chairs being added back into the game. There are 7 people left without chairs. Don't let that be you. Force number 4, the whole corporate setup is just a broken deal. Think about buying a house versus renting it. In renting it, say you do this for 10 years. You rent, you trade money, in exchange, you get a place to live. At the end of it, when that's done, you've got nothing that you own, and you have to start all over. Same thing in a corporate setup. In a compensation, you've basically got time for money exchange, right? It looks pretty healthy, 300-400K possibly right now. Good for what the last few years have been. But do you have any equity there? The moment it ends, for whatever reason, whether you choose, whether they choose, that is done. There is no equity, there's nothing that carries you forward. Now, right now, if I asked you what you own, you might say, you know, I've got a large team. I've got 80 people to me, like 10 direct reports. I've got this great title, this scope of responsibility. I own this capability. I own this account, this market. I'm the person who leads this. Do you? Do you really own that? Do you own the restricted stock units, the RSUs that are to you? Like, what if your company flatlines? What if it doesn't work? Do you own that? Was those years that you were putting in, does it actually compound in your favor? No. It can all be taken away in a heartbeat, whether market forces decide, whether someone at the top decides, and it can all be gone. Now compare that to things that you could own, things like frameworks, methodologies, ways of teaching, softwares, licenses. Imagine if you were able to package up your career capital, all that substance you've built up over the years, and you went through a concentrated effort to actually package it, to make it monetizable, to say, hey, market, know me for this outcome. Here's how you can buy this from me. It's unique, it's got my own spin, it's not hidden behind a company logo. You've made it unique, you've made it highly valuable, but you have to go through that work. In that state, you own something. You've got intellectual property, you've got the basis of something that can go far beyond your own time and effort and ability to create a salary. That's what you want for yourself, because the current game is purely rental. Just look at the word compensation. They are compensating you for your time. You gave us all this time, basically all of your life in many circumstances. Therefore, here's this nice salary and this benefits package. Feel good, I'm compensating you. There's no equity in that. We need an ownership game. All compensation is dependency dressed up as success. All right, that leads to the 5th and arguably the most important force of all. This is the death of expertise. Now, recent studies from McKinsey show that 60 to 70% of that middle layer of organizations is automatable, that AI can take over. Now, let that just sink in for a second. We used to be paid for all the things we knew, all that accumulated instinct there. I know cybersecurity, I know marketing, I know this form of engineering, I know how to bring this software to life, product management, whatever it might be. That doesn't matter anymore. Again, the old model, go through school, get credentials, work your way up the chain, and earn more and more and more because you knew things. That model's dead, because I just have to pay 20 bucks a month for a slightly plussed version of an AI subscription, and I get all the information I could ever want. So what need do I have for someone who knows all the things in this area? There has to be a different use. So we have to move from knowing things to building things. Your job is to build things, to build assets that create value for people who would greatly appreciate your existence and being in your world. So imagine you take the last 15 to 25 years of your career and you extract out all the raw material that's good. You learn to package that up, that's your career capital. And then you say, like, if I bring this to life in something that people would give me a great deal of money for, you then convert that into IP. This is like your methodology, your frameworks. You might even put it into software, which is a very important move that I work with a lot of my clients these days, so that your stuff can move faster without your own interaction, right? And you can be more the relationship person. You can be the one that's very human in the interactions as a founder. But the reality is, those that understand this are stepping back from corporate, whether they have the job or whether they don't right now, and putting dedicated founder time into extracting their career capital and learning to package it into intellectual property. that people in the outside world would greatly value. They go, wow, this is very unique. Joe has like a really important, unique way of solving for this thing in marketing. He understands how to do customer retention in a way I've never seen. Or Jill understands explicitly how to get the product out the door at lightning speed compared to how we used to. Her methodologies, her understanding of how organizations like us work is critical. We need her in our organization to help us out. Like, that's what you want for yourself, is the ability to build assets, to build things that compound while you're sleeping. It's not the, oh, go sell a digital course for 97 bucks and think that income will keep flowing to you. Those days are dead too, by the way. Again, I've been in the entrepreneurial space for about 10 years. Those days are dead. But the ability to be known for a high value asset, to be able to bring that to the world, know how to market it, know how to sell it, and know how to deliver it in ways that are appropriate for this day going forward is your job. Now, the cool thing is, as you understand what your IP is, what you're gifted at, it's equally valuable. If you want to shop around and get a great corporate job, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with a great job. It can be a great asset in your life, but you'll open up more doors knowing how to ship a very valuable outcome. You know how to package it, articulate it, message yourself so that you don't look like anyone else out there. You're going to open up better jobs for yourself if that's what you want. And of course, longer term, what I believe is folks like us need to become founders. We need to step into the path of creating a business out of our unique aspects, out of our own career capital, what we love doing, who we want to help, what are their unmet needs, and how do you solve them in a way that's just not accessible for them today. That's your job, is to build assets, to build the conditions, to build the business machine that lets that happen. And yes, it can be useful for a corporate job as well. Those who understand this are building more than just assets, than just businesses. They're stepping back and asking, how do I climb the ground? How do I get higher ground? How do I plant my flag as the person who really is known for this outcome? In effect, they're designing their own categories, their own real estate to play in, and they're being known for that outcome. So for that years into the future, they are seen as the person that can deliver that outcome. Let's talk about how valuable that is, to be known as the person and the business that creates the specific outcome. But you've got to do the work to get yourself out there, to know what you're gifted at, and to package it to them so that they know how to buy it. That takes real work. That's what a founder does. So we just covered the 5 forces that are converging, like 5 things going into a pot and it's just boiling over. And this happened all of a sudden, I admit. We're recording this in 2026 right now. And just in the last couple of years, crazy amount of things have become possible, and a whole swath of jobs are just going away forever. And therefore, we need to take very concrete action now, because you've got a window of opportunity, 12 to 24 months from right now, for you to actually plant your flag and be known for something very specific, very high value, to go build machines, build assets, build businesses, design even your own category so that you are known as the person who gets a certain outcome. The window is now. There are many people in the darkness, even while having corporate jobs right now. Trust me, I work with many of them that are doing this right now. They're planting their flag quietly, understanding how it works to position in a unique way, to market in a powerful way, to sell and deliver outcomes that their people absolutely need. Now, if I stopped right here and said, just good luck, I just gave you 5 doomsday messages, that would be a really sad way to do that. I'm not gonna do that to you. We're gonna end on a very high note because you've got possibility in front of you. 3 things you need to know to go forward. Number 1, founder economics. When you hear the word founder, you probably think of the Silicon Valley version of needing to get seed funding, venture capitalists involved, a team of 10 developers, a co-founder, all the things. That's old. That's the way we studied back in MBAs and business schools and all that. No. Today, it's you and a vision. You are the founder. I challenge you right now, look in the mirror, go home and say, I'm a founder. I'm gonna create something out of nothing. I have the tools, I have the career capital, I just need the conditions. I need to be the person doing the things to build it. Right now, to be a founder just means a few simple decisions and a couple software resources. That's what it takes to bring something to life. The old way was heavy, it was costly, it took forever. Now you can operate at the speed of light. You can go uncover all the things you've gone through in the last 25 years, professionally and personally, and say, well, here's all raw material I can work with. How do I extract the right pieces? This is my career capital, right? And then how do I turn it into specific IP that a very specific group of people would want? That's a match in heaven waiting to happen. That's a business waiting to be created. When you have something that you're gifted at and that you can't wait to deliver, and there's a group of people out there that absolutely need you, and you learn to do the matchmaking, like a dating app, right? This person wants that person. You learn to do that. You learn how to position yourself. You learn how to market it. You learn how to build an asset that gets someone an outcome, and you learn how to deliver it at scale. Understand what's possible for your future, the upside financially, happiness-wise, your family, your energy, how you control your day. Hell, you might be out at a lake like me on a Monday right now recording something that serves someone else powerfully. I didn't get to used to do this. This is me as a founder now because it matters that much to me and I know it can help a lot of people. So founder economics is far different. Second piece then is people are claiming categories right now. If you look at the studies, if you look at the ability even for a one-person business to differentiate, take for example, maybe you've been in the marketing space for a while, senior leader there, chief marketing officer, and you're kind of dancing across all the different areas of marketing for a mid-sized organization. Well, one of my clients was on that path and he said, you know what, there's a very specific need for a certain type of organization to not focus on customer acquisition, but to focus on customer retention. He called it the retention directive. It's a very careful framing, very careful use of language. And he's got frameworks underneath it, which is his own intellectual property. He's got ways of marketing it, positioning it, delivering it. There's a ton of upside in that situation, as opposed to, I'm another marketing leader, one of tens of thousands of people who looks just like everyone else. Who's gonna have the greater upside in that situation? My client, he's developing a new category. He's claiming it, planting his flag, and doing the work to shine a light on it so that he and his business can be known as very special out there in the market and the go-to authority in customer retention. One of my favorite author groups, they call themselves the Category Pirates. They study the creation of large categories that are built by organizations and even small categories that are built by one-person businesses and everything in between. And the person who frames, names, and claims the category and does the work to make it so captures 76% of the market share. Everyone else who's late to the game that chooses to follow the leader is fighting for the remaining 24%. Let that sink in. Do you want to be the person who chases the 24% of the scraps with everyone else? Or do you want to be the person that does the work as a founder to create their own category and claim it effectively and be known for years to come as the person and the business who creates that outcome? What path will it be? So those points of founder economics and category claimers are really bright sides. And the third piece, I'm gonna have you look in the mirror. It's realizing that that person has all that they already need. You have so much career capital, all the hard things you've ever overcome, the battle scars, the credibility receipts, all the accomplishments, the trusted network of people that would pick up your call in a heartbeat. You gotta understand that you've got so much more that you can lean on than you give yourself credit for. But you've got to do the work as a founder would to understand what's special, to understand what you love doing, and then match that up with the outside needs of the people you want to serve. There's a very careful matchmaking process to take place. And then we need to learn to connect with them so that they see us as the only option because we are different and valuable. And then we learn how to market to them to build trust, to establish ourselves as the authority and therefore our business, because a founder is more than just themselves. We're not this one-person consultant shop. We're a founder of a machine that creates awesome outcomes. It's all dependent on your career capital. That career capital is the most valuable asset you have. I don't care how much you've invested in stocks, in real estate. None of that compares to what you have up here. Your career capital is something that no one else has in this world. You've got to embrace it and do the work to excavate it and bring it to us so that you can monetize it, so that you can live a new life, so that you can build a new chapter, so that you can graduate corporate life. My closing message is this: do not wait. Every month that you wait is allowing for other people in your space to be braver before you, to start taking action, to start moving into the state of being a founder. I've worked with hundreds of people and see them every day. The folks that are covertly behind the scenes building this new life. They're extracting what they're gifted at. They're saying, I'm not gonna be dependent on corporate anymore. No more of that. They look at these 5 forces and they say, that's a broken relationship. Yeah, I might do this for a few years more because it's a good utility, but it's not a long game and I'm not gonna bet my family's future on that. They know they're meant for more. They're sitting on gold and they're going to bring it to life. So I urge you, this is a small window, 12 to 24 months. Others are moving. The longer you wait, the less chance you have to capture that market share, to be known as the person doing that thing. The longer your evolution as a founder takes place and going through all the building of mindset and skill set and getting all the bumps and bruises that you're going to need to have if you're going to be successful. I've had a lot of bumps and bruises. I've had my ass kicked a lot. I'm still standing here on a Monday, 4 years out of corporate, and I'll tell you, it's the most rewarding experience I've ever been on. I will never regret a single day of it, because every day I get stronger and I can build more, and I know I don't ever need a job ever again. I know you want that for yourself too if you're still listening to me right now. So get into action, get the help. And if you want something very specific, corporate graduation is the most holistic system for making this move, for breaking through these 5 forces. So if you want the full training to go from corporate to founder in 1 year, check out this training right here or click the link below the video.